Hello and welcome to the Grove podcast. Oh, a big sigh of relief. My shoulders can finally drop. I can relax. Arsenal have beaten Tottenham Hotspur 3-2. And to discuss, I'm here joined by Tabs. Hello.
Hello and happy St. Totteringham's Day, listeners. Hey.
Happy St. Totteringham's Day, as Tab says, with a glass of wine in hand as well. Very nice. Makes a big change from the mint green tea or whatever.
Green and mint tea. No, today's not a day for green and mint tea.
No. Okay, fair enough. One of those ones then. We'll talk about why, I guess, in a sec. And we're also joined by Jamie. How are you, mate?
Hello. Very well. A lot better than I was this morning. I was a nervous wreck.
And probably a lot better than you were around kind of 3:30 p.m.
Yes. That was probably the longest 10 minutes of the season for me, I've got to say.
Yeah, that was tough. It brings me into how we're feeling about today in the game and the result. And for me, yeah, it was just first half, we were so sloppy. It felt like we weren't making our passes. We just looked lethargic and slow. But then suddenly, out of nowhere, you're going into halftime 3-0 up, and it's like, wow, how, all these nerves that we had at the start before 2 o'clock just subsided massively. And then in terms of the result itself, overall, a huge win. Look, if you said to me before the game, we're going to win 3-2, I would absolutely take it. I would think we would score a last-minute winner to make it 3-2, but we did it the hard way. But, we've come over the line. We've got 3 more cup finals to go, and let's see what happens. Tabs, how do you feel?
Very, very happy, very, very relieved, and absolutely knackered. I mean, I'd already done a long run this morning, but the game did me in, and I'm sure I doubled my step count for the day just in that last 20 minutes alone. I was just like pacing. I've worn out the carpet. And I think that's part of why I've got the reason for the wine. One is just to bring me down, and 2 is to celebrate. But we'll discuss the details of the game shortly. But this game is very close to, I don't know, when we last had Jamie on, we spoke about that fuck-off win. Now, we didn't quite humiliate Spurs like we did Chelsea, and it wasn't like that statement win as such, but we came through a very difficult game, and we were under immense pressure from the very beginning, but in that final 20 minutes, and it wasn't particularly from what Tottenham were doing, because actually they didn't create a huge amount, but the occasion and the stadium and how they were reacting, and the fact that we'd gone from a very comfortable position to let them come back in to be 3-2. We had to be really physically and really mentally strong to ride that out, and it was so important that we won. So important, because people still talk about, if we'd let this slip, and people still talk about when we've let leads slip in the past. I mean, they still talk about 4-4 against Newcastle. I know for me that was back in black and white. Yeah, and then when we cracked under pressure when playing against Spurs 4 years ago, and Neville could not get that out enough during the commentary. And then there was last year, West Ham and Liverpool, and we would never and ever live this down if we'd let this slip. So it's so good that we got through this, and we had to just find a way to get through this, and we did, and we'll be better for it. And so that's why I'm very happy, very relieved, and very knackered.
Jamie, how do you feel? Very well put, by the way, Tabs. Very, very well put.
Kind of the same. I get exactly what you mean. These kind of games are a little bit like going 12 rounds with an emotional Mike Tyson, aren't they? But yeah, I think relief is the biggest one for the day. It's a day of relief, I think. And even, to be honest, in the first half, as we accumulated those 3 goals, none of them felt quite as joyous as they have done in previous North London derbies or previous big games of ours. For some reason, they just felt like a genuine relief with each of them. So yeah, it's been the overriding feeling of today for me, I think.
Yeah, and do you know what? see, to put it into perspective, when you think about when Tabs referenced Gary Neville, I heard him in the commentary say, "Oh, this time last year Arsenal went to West Ham and they dropped points, and then they went to Anfield and they dropped points." And at this point, I'm sure it was 3-1. He was like, "Yeah, so Tottenham just need 2 more goals, and you can talk about Arsenal surrendering another 2-goal lead and all this sort of nonsense." But Gary Neville, obviously a Man U reject, he's desperate for Arsenal to falter, and he's jealous, I guess, of the fact that our club is doing something that his club isn't at the moment. So you can see that. But when I watch the game, I don't have any thoughts of that happening this season. I'm a little bit more relaxed. I know that we're a little bit more stronger mentally and better equipped as a team, that if we do end up conceding a goal like we did today under very different circumstances, almost out with our direct control, it was almost it was a mistake, wasn't it, from Raya? So it wasn't something that Tottenham did. It was more something that we did. And even after that, I thought, yeah, it's got the crowd up a little bit. But the Declan Rice one it wasn't a mistake. I don't think it was just one of those things. I'm sure we'll discuss it in more detail soon. Let's talk about highlights and lowlights of the game then. For me, the highlight was just having the same lineup again. It was really nice to see. I think Thomas Partey played very well again today. I think he controlled the game in the middle, and there was some chances that you could see that we could kind of break through the lines and play that pass, and Thomas Partey helped us do that. The low light for me, unfortunately, was Gabriel Martinelli, and it brings me on to the point that Andy made a few weeks ago now. Actually, he sent a voice note in that I've mentioned and referenced before in this pod, where I just don't think Martinelli this season's been up to it at all. And it's showing when Trossard's now getting the starts at the end of the season, where at the start it was the other way around. He just looks like he's either lost a little bit of pace, or he's just lost that conviction that he used to have last season. And it's not a worry. I think he'll find form again, whether it's this season or potentially next. I just think, like him, like everyone, we just need a bit of a break now. We just need that pre-season to come. But yeah, Martinelli just looked off it today. He just didn't, when he came on, he just didn't get as involved as what Trossard did. And the game state was different, I guess, at that point as well, when we'd conceded 2 goals and whatnot. So I just thought maybe he'd be more of an out ball and try more to get us up the pitch, but he just didn't. So that was my highlight and low light. Tabs, what was yours?
Do you mind if I just counter that point? I can see why you're saying it. I think game state. No, yes. Overall, his season it's actually fallen off a bit since Sheffield United. That's partly the injury. Our team, etc. Trossard is excelling, and so on. So I'm not going to be too down in it. I think just today was game state. We were struggling to get out and create stuff. So yeah, he did provide a bit of an outlet, and there was that one time he was away, and then Kulusevski took him down. And again, a bit like City and having Jesus out there helping defending, I think he did a lot of defensive work, and we weren't able to find him, and we're also very right side biased again. So it's just I think it was a struggle. So yeah, I think you're right. He's not hitting the heights of last year, and even since the injury. Yeah, and maybe a bit low in confidence, a bit low in form, and it happens. He's still very young. You have ups and downs and dips, and it's just one of those things. So I can see why people might be thinking, he's not having great. He's not having a great few weeks, and that's fine. And I'm pretty sure he'll come again. He'll come again. In terms of highlight, the final whistle, was just pure and simple. Just that. It was a beautiful cross by Son. At the end on 96 minutes, cleared everyone, no chance. And then the final whistle, and that just sort of just flopped on the sofa and just sort of let out a big sign of relief. Low light, and I'm sure we'll come to it, was just the rare mistake. Now, I'm not going to lay into Raya. It's more what the mistake meant, because I even felt 3-0, you let them back into it, bit of momentum, you never know what happens, 3-1, 3-2 very quickly, and then all of a sudden it just changes. So I was still never comfortable at 3. I never thought we were going to lose the game, but a draw or a loss would have been the same for us. So it was just more what that goal meant to the game, when we were comfortable, we were actually fine. We were having our best spell of the game, and then just out of nowhere, we let them in, and then it was just we knew what was coming. So that's where my highlights and lowlights.
Can I just, before I come to you, Jamie, I just want to say that the saving grace for my low light of Martinelli is how good Saka was. Normally, I'm lamenting Saka's performance, but today it's the other way around. So, you can't have it all, can you?
No,
we've still beat them, and it's still St. Tottenham's Day, so that's fine.
Exactly.
And we've also, incidentally enough, qualified for the Champions League for next season, which is brilliant.
Right. There we go.
Jamie, what was your highlight and low light from today's game?
So highlights for me is definitely the Tottenham fan who gave a load of grief to Declan Rice. And just before he crossed for the third goal with the corner, and it was particularly the way that he scuttled off just after that corner was taken and Kai had headed home. So that was just glorious.
Did you see Rice turn around and celebrate at the corner?
Yes.
That was brilliant. Yeah. You gave a big old double fist pump and looking straight at them and going.
There's been a load of great tweets I've seen around it as well. I think one of them had the lineup as being that bloke from Seinfeld, Danny DeVito, and Yankovic being the Tottenham fans behind, giving him abuse. But yeah, it was. If you haven't seen it, do go and find it, because it is. It's a cracking clip of one man trying to make a difference and then disappearing off to the toilet when he realises that he can't make one. So that was good fun. Low lights. The Raya one's the obvious one again. Martinelli, I do totally get. I actually really liked your counter to that as well, Tabs, because I agree this game was a bit of a hiding into nothing. He's playing in front of a knackered Tomiyasu, and he's just being asked to sprint the length of the pitch at various points in time. But yeah, he did look a bit. Again, his decision making let him down. I think probably for me, the low light was actually probably the second goal, coming from that penalty. It was the fact that it just felt like it was going to be one of those days for me for a brief second, because I think Rice, to be frank, hasn't done a massive amount wrong there. He's challenging for the ball, he's gone and missed it. It's one of those real heat at the moment things. It is a penalty, but there's absolutely no way, if that doesn't occur, that Ben Davies is in a position where he's going to be scoring. And that's the bit that I find really frustrating about those kind of pens. I can't really argue with them, with the laws of the game, but realistically, they've got a goal out of nothing there, really, and just out of the fact that Declan Rice has slightly gone to kick the air and instead got Ben Davies' future children. So at least
that's a highlight at least.
But yeah, that would be the highlight for me. It just felt like a really annoying way to put Tottenham right back in the race with us. Then
it was one of those tackles where I agree with you, Jamie. There's no one's Ben Davies is not doing anything with the ball from there, but it's one of those new kind of laws, isn't it, where any contact in the box now is and always will be a penalty. I don't understand it myself. And it was crazy that Michael Oliver, who was stood right next to him as well, could not, he didn't go for it, did he? He just waved it on. And when you look at the contact as well, it was like Declan Rice didn't even have his eyes on Ben Davies at all. He had his eyes on the ball. Should he have been a little bit more clever, though, to know Ben Davies is right next to him? I'm not sure. It was tough.
Let's talk. Just say we just. So there's been a couple of those recently. It's just players coming in on the blind side. So you're going for the ball. The player comes out. I don't think Ben Davies was trying to be clever. So we've had a few penalties recently where people are clever, just getting their foot in just before someone's trying to clear it, and then they get kicked and it's a penalty. It's a foul. Outside the box, that's a foul. It's foul. And he hit him pretty hard in the knackers. So there you go. So you're right, it's a pen. It's just that they get an 80% chance of scoring from a nothing situation and frustration. But that's it. I don't fault Ben Rice. I don't think he knew it was it. He had just had eyes on the ball, and Ben Davies, I think, got there first, and then you kick him, and then the player goes down, he rolls around, and it's a pen, but it's just one of those ones that out of nothing. And of course they're getting a penalty. It's the North London derby at Tottenham Stadium. I can't remember the last time they didn't get a penalty.
And it might be somewhat karmic as well, because I mean, to be frank, if I were a Spurs fan and it was the other way around, I would probably be more aggrieved at the Kulishevsky penalty not being given, to be honest. That to me, and it's a lot less contact. But if you think about it in terms of goal scoring opportunity, which is still where I think, that's kind of what makes the difference for me. That little bit of contact that was there, 100% you could attribute it, I think, to Kulishevsky going down.
But I don't think there was anything. I don't think there was anything in that half.
I really do think there was. I think we got away quite. I think it would have been one of those real 50-50s is what it was in my view. But I think we got the good side of that one. The other pen, then, as I say, is to me a nothing, because if the actual contact doesn't take place, nothing comes out of it. So that's why I feel there's somewhat, there's probably something a bit karmic about it.
Yeah, maybe. But with the Trossard one, I don't know. Why is it Trossard hitting him? Why is it not Kulishevsky coming across? Trossard's running, and Kulishevsky hits Trossard. It just happens to be with his back heel. Why? So I think that's not. You're right. That's not a penalty. I think now they're saying it's not enough in it for him to go down. But I think that's partly Kulishevsky's fault, because I think he sort of runs across Trossard, and it's just an incident. A game. A bit like in Formula One, it's a racing incident. For me, that's just a footballing incident.
I'll also just say one thing about that, and then we'll talk about the goals and whatnot. Kulishevsky should have stayed on his feet. I mean, I know he fell. I know he thinks he was tripped or whatever. Maybe he's caught his own leg. I don't know, but it looks like he could have stayed on his feet and had a shot. It really does. It reminded me of Saka against Neuer. For the Bayern Munich game, almost that kind of stay on your feet, man, and you might have a chance of scoring. Anyway, let's talk about the goal itself in the first half performance before we lose ourselves with Spurs. Look at Spurs Reddit, and that'll tell you everything you need to know about their headlock.
Who cares that he lost?
Yeah, exactly. So, like I say about the first half, we didn't play great. Probably did take us maybe I'd say 15 minutes of that game to properly get into it. The home fans were loud, and they were, even at the start, I don't know if you guys remember, right at the very start of the game there was like a free kick awarded to Spurs around the halfway line, and it was Kulishevsky, I think, who just quickly got up, put the ball in the spot and just played on. They didn't even wait. They just wanted to get the game started as quick as they can. They wanted to keep going. The one thing I really liked was the fact that down the middle they could not enter. They had to look at either side of the wings to get the balls in. And that was brilliant. Gabriel and Saliba had a brilliant game together today just to shut out the middle completely. But after 50 minutes, Arsenal have a corner, and that was kind of like the first major chance of note, really, in the game. And I was laughing to myself because I'm the one that always says in the podcast, Bukayo Saka, beat your first man. And Babak 602, when he's listening to this, will say, look, you haven't beat your first man, but you still managed to score from it. So that was the best thing. Højbjerg, what a header as well. I don't know what he was trying to do.
Oh, it was a bullet header. There was no chance of saving that one. It was great. he found the spot. Yeah, that was a great header. Yeah.
But we can all agree on one thing, Jamie. I'm sure you will agree on this as well. The best thing about that goal was Ben White trying to undo Vicario's gloves.
The shithousery from Ben White is so funny.
Brilliant. It really is. I mean, that was the highlight of last week. You got the pleasure of being sat in the North Bank to watch him do it quite close. Quite close in. It was just honestly, his work at set pieces is just a work of art, isn't it?
Absolutely. And that's the third own goal in the derby in a row with Saka assisting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so last year when near post passed Lloris, and then this year, I can't remember the one this year. I think Romero, and then this one. So three own goals in the derby for Spurs, all with Saka assisting.
That kind of just, for me personally, just lifted a massive weight off my shoulders when that goal went in. And I think, to be honest with you, the only real chance of note that I remember after that, before our second goal, was the one where was it Romero or Paul had hit I think it was Romero, wasn't it? Hit the kind of outside of the post.
Yeah.
So that was like the only main chance, and then obviously the offside goal. Thank God Gabriel doesn't have a proper Brazilian's ass, because that could have ended differently. But it was almost no pun intended with this, but it was squeaky bum time really when they were drawing the lines, and Gary Neville was almost creaming his pants when he was like, "Oh, that's onside." That just kept saying it, and I was getting worried. And I was looking, thinking it doesn't look on. I was getting gaslighted by Gary Neville. It was so weird. It didn't look onside, and then obviously they drew the lines, and turns out it wasn't that. Those two, and they were quite close in succession as well. There was only a few minutes, but I don't know about you guys, but that was the wake up call I think the squad needed.
I wrote down in my notes a goal's coming. And it did. Luckily, it was called out for offside. But I did a Moz, and I wrote down my notes like 20-minute goals coming, and there. I wonder if Eric Ten Hag is phoning up Ange to commiserate about narrow offsides and goals.
It was just one of those. It's tough because when you look at it, bounces off two of our players. I think Gabriel takes the last touch, but when the shot's taken, Van de Ven is offside.
Yeah.
But what really frustrated me was the fact that when Saka cleared the ball away, it was almost as if we just invited the pressure back. We never got out, and I think you can see from the Sky Sports angle when that ball's cleared out, Arteta is ushering the players out as much as he can with his hand gestures. But obviously, the ball comes in and we almost concede a goal, and I really think if it goes 1-1, I think we concede again then in that first half. I think the way the game was going. Jamie, talk us through goal number 2 though. The Saka goal. How did you find that, and how did you feel after that goal went in?
Oh, I mean, now that was definitely the most joyous. I think just out of the panic initially with the penalty shouts, which is to say at the time, and I will watch them back a bit more closely, but I thought there's some merit to the one in particular. To then go up the other end so quickly and just so surgically, to be completely frank, was just brilliant. Kai's ball was fabulous, perfectly weighted, meets Saka in stride pretty well, and then obviously Saka in that position against somebody like Ben Davies. I'm just thinking at that point, this has got to be 2. This has got to be. You don't really tend to see him, mess up those chances. It's very rare he gets those opportunities these days. To be completely frank, extremely rare that he's got a runner and a fullback that's, I think at that point was still in the left half of the pitch. Trying to move over, and a defensive line that was quite so out of position. So yeah, it was fantastic, little kind of stop-start shuffle to let Ben Davies slide across the turf. Once he's got it on his left and there's just him and the keeper, it's always going in, isn't it? But lovely to see him do it.
One thing I would say about the goal, and I'm not defending Spurs. You would never hear me defend Spurs in my entirety. The one thing I would say, however, is it was really avoidable for 2 reasons. Number one, when Saka's running through and Kai Havertz is looking at that pass, even Gianluca, who plays nowhere near that level, Taz, I'm sure, would be able to spot that run. And all the defenders just seem to be running. I didn't know why I said I was defending Spurs. I'm laughing at them here when they're all running towards Havertz, and you're thinking, at least one of you look behind you and see Saka running into acres of space. I can't wait to watch Match of the Day tonight when they put a big circle around the amount of space Saka has to the nearest defender. That's point number one. Point number 2 is when Saka's in the box and he's on his right foot, he is not going to shoot. He is going to come on his left, and he did. And not only the defense, was it Ben Davies that was defending?
Yeah, Ben Davies. He's got to show him wide, right, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Show him wide, but if you don't, Vicario, you know he's going to shoot. You know that finish is coming. So it was so predictable. It was just such an easy goal, and you can see why Spurs are 20 odd points behind us because, mate, as long as they play their high line and they play off vibes, that's fine. But you can't get away with that in a North London derby. And if we conceded that goal, I think we would be fuming. We really would. If that was Son or Madison running onto that, then we would be absolutely fuming because you can read it from a mile off.
It's an interesting position they're in with that, isn't it? Where they kind of under Ange at the moment. It doesn't feel that dissimilar to early days with Arteta and some of the trouble times in some ways, but where the difference is, I think Arteta kind of knew he had a bunch of bad defenders, and we played relatively deep, played 3 at the back. We tried, various different things to solidify, right? And then as a result, we would get quite frustrated by the fact that we weren't seeing, fluid attacking football. Spurs seem to be in that opposite position of, he's sacrificed the defensive solidity in order to have the free-flowing attacking football, but they don't have the players to be able to play that kind of pressing and highly exposed defence at this time. And Ben Davies is probably, culprit number 1 for that, really, isn't it?
Mm.
It's almost as if we tried to play what we play now, and we were still playing Said Kolasinac at left back, we're going to see that happen a lot,
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah. No.
It's avoidable. It's where they are at the moment. But I just loved. I thought it was a bit of a showcase goal in terms of Kai. Kai at the moment's got a thing that he's doing that I just absolutely love me in this kind of false 9 position. Everybody's going on about it, of course. But the way that he's able to just lift his head, play that ball over the top. Seen him in all those highlight reels for Leverkusen before he went to Chelsea, playing that ball all the time for players running onto it. Probably doesn't get the opportunity that often for Arsenal, again, just because of the kind of the game states we tend to arrive in. But it's just a wonderful spot, good pass, and I just loved it. I thought it was an absolute showcase reel of what Kai and Bukayo do really, really well.
Great point. And I really think that those Kai Havertz and Bukayo Saka are probably 2 of the players right now that could do that. I don't think anyone else come close to it. And what an improvement Kai Havertz has been the second half of this, even after the first few games. I mean, look at the turnaround. Fans, including some of us in the Grove and other group chats, were calling for Kai Havertz to be benched and dropped and whatnot. And look at this now. He's solely, he's grabbing games by the scruff of the neck and getting involved and getting us over the line. It was, and Tabs, as you quite rightly point out here in your notes, 8 goals and 5 assists in the last 11 Premier League games. I'm pretty sure that's some form of a record. But look, he's got more goals than Anthony, he's got more goals than Højlund, he's got more goals than Nicholas Jackson. All these players he was getting compared to at the start of the season when Arsenal signed him.
Was it? Remember they were saying, Madison was the best signing and Havertz was the worst signing, like the Athletic.
But the one thing that Arteta would be saying to players like Kai Havertz and even like Saka, when the pressure's on and the media's on their back, is just prove it on the pitch. And that's exactly what the Arsenal players have done this season. Our third goal, Tabs, as you quite rightly pointed out in your notes, you still feel like you needed a third, and the game was really far from over, and the third proved to be vital here, the Kai Havertz goal. It was a great corner, and again, the highlight isn't the goal itself for me, it's the fan behind Declan Rice who is giving him dogs abuse. He looks like an AI character or something. This fan just giving him dogs abuse. And there's a video going around on Twitter of the guy just being zoomed into as Declan Rice crosses the ball in, and then obviously the goal scored, and Declan Rice almost just kind of looks back and celebrates at that corner, but the guy's long gone. He walks up halfway up the stand and probably out into the concourse. It was brilliant, I think.
But just wanted to point out, sorry, on this goal again with White, and I looked at him again. He was really getting in Vicario's face, but the timing of the fact that he put him off enough, but then got out in line with everyone else. So when the header was hit, he's not like he's impeding or in the way. He's out of it. So it's so subtle, but just makes such a difference. And then you see Vicario putting his hands out, but then White is nowhere to be seen. So he just times his shithousery to perfection, and then basically the ball's in the back of the net, and White is already away celebrating before anyone realised, you bastard. And it's so fun, it's so good to watch, and they must work it. It's part of the skill. It's really good to see our set pieces coming back, because we needed them today. That's like our 16th goal from a corner this year, and what a time for them to come back, especially because it is a weakness in Tottenham, so we knew that. And it's one of the things that they're not good at, corners and defending the box from crosses and stuff. So it was good to see us take advantage of that, and we really did.
And to add to the shithousery, it's the fact that he's clever, isn't it? And that's what makes him good in those positions.
Yeah.
It's the same as any of them. If you think about most of the guys that we refer to as shithouses across the Premier League, with the massive exception of Richarlison, you know, the majority of them, like you, Rodri's in particular, is the first one that leaps out to me. And these guys we kind of admired from other teams for a long while that we've never had. It's being clever enough to be able to understand what you can get away with, where's the limit, push it right to the limit, and then back off. Right? You know, if you're gonna be around where it could count against you, tow it and then disappear back out of there and create a bit of doubt. And Ben White's bringing that all around the pitch, to be completely frank.
Yeah.
You know, he's really impressed me as well in the running too. I think he's been having some big games over the last few weeks.
He's and on the point we were saying about Havertz, we talk about his end product now. But the other thing, he works so hard. His movement, his running, the first line of defense. He's just got a massive engine. He wins a lot of duels, headers, and if he doesn't win, he puts the player off. So and that's the bit I loved beforehand. He just wasn't getting the end product, or we just didn't find him yet. Now we found him. He's got end product. He's scoring. He's assisting, but his all-round play is still there, and it just goes to show you, you know, after the Chelsea game, looking at a few reels or whatever, like, you know, Chelsea fans would go, "Oh my God, we sold him, Havertz. We're so happy to get him out of the club." Look what Arteta can do with when he sees a good player. That's some scouting, to see him and find him and get him out of there. I say some scouting. He's always a good player, but you know, it goes to show that. And that's why I'm never too down on Mudryk, because imagine what Arteta could have done with Mudryk. You know, very raw, but we could have sent him. You put him in that shithole of a club, you know, in West London, and that's what happens. You know, players turn to crap. Whereas if we know what we're doing, and
I know you hate Chelsea, but you don't have to mention it in every single episode.
I just want to make sure that the point gets across. No, it's more about what we can do when you see a player, and you can make them come good.
What's really funny is I seen a tweet from a Tottenham fan saying, nearly 5 years deep into the project and your entire game plan sitting in a mid-block with 4 centre-backs and 2 defensive midfielders, and all you do is score goals from corners and long balls to Saka.
Oh, did they not count? Sorry, when did corner and goals from corners not count, you pillar? Sorry.
The replies are brilliant as Spurs fans just arguing with each other. Like, one guy was just saying, like, why wouldn't they do that against us? It's a way to easily beat us. I know our fan base thinks playing nice and having possession is a win, but the only thing that really matters is all 3 points. It's hilarious. But you know what? If I was a Spurs fan, God, even saying that makes me feel sick. If I was a Spurs fan and watching looking at the stats from that game, it's the most dominant defeat they've probably had all season. That's the way I would put it. It's a dominant defeat. They lost possession in the first half. They had the most shots, the most XG. I know Tabs, you're loving that. They had everything. They just could not find a way to break down, and it was all through the middle of the pitch. That's how it came. They could have scored at least 2 or 3 more goals if Gabriel and Saliba weren't as tight defensively in the middle. It was brilliant.
Yeah,
for all that possession, I think they only really threatened from set pieces, right? I mean, you look at, there's a reason why their disallowed goal was a defender. Their penalty was won by a defender. Their other goal was scored by a defender, and they twice hit the post or the bar or went close.
Defender. Their best player was Romero.
Romero by an absolute mile, right? But the reason was that actually, I think it is. I honestly think we were playing rope-a-dope today in that first half. I think Tottenham want a chaotic game. They want to go end to end, right? They are like watching a Kevin Keegan team in all over again. It's just million miles an hour, end to end. That suits that team. If you can go there and just calm things down, and you don't necessarily have to do that by having the ball all the time. You know, actually, you go up against a team like Tottenham. It reminds me a little bit of like the best way to defend Jovino was just to stand off him and make a decision, and he used to, always brain fart his way through the game after that point, right? This Tottenham team are a little bit like that. If you stand off and give them a little bit of possession, they have no real penetration, they brain fart their way through the game. James Maddison does not look like a playmaker on the ball when he's got 10 players in front of him whatsoever. And, really the only particularly function when there is the space there to run into. So, yes, we didn't control the game great. I think we looked brilliant, but I think that kind of deliberate rope-a-dope that gave them that possession, I think that was pretty planned and worked out. I don't think it should have worked out as well as a 3-0 lead at half.
No, we're not stupid, are we? We know that we got away with that. But that's what makes it so funny.
It was undeliberate, I don't think it was just ceding the entire. I don't think they were dominant. I think we ceded a lot of that possession and killed a lot of the atmosphere by just concentrating on being tight and not giving them the opportunity they're going to have. They don't have a Harry Kane there now, who's going to score goals in the penalty box. In particular, they've got Son in the 18-yard box. He just does not function as a central striker. So the only thing that we did do was we conceded too many. By giving them that amount of possession, we did concede too many attacking set pieces, and that could have been our downfall, I think.
Yeah, a little bit. But this is all. Also, it said go down. You're right. Push them out the flanks, and this is where actually Trossard had a really good game. It was sort of equivalent in a way to what Jesus did against City. He was really helping out Tomiyasu's side, wasn't it? Yeah. With Kulusevski, and he was really doing an effective job back there. I mean, there was one time, what is it with forwards in their own penalty area that they think, I know, I'll dribble out from here, for God's sake. Yeah. What is it with them? I have no idea. Just get rid. And twice I think our forwards got caught out doing that.
Well, the Martinelli pass across the box at the end as well.
Jesus.
Get my heart in my mouth. I mean, that was like going back 2 years in terms of stuff we used to get up to.
But coming back to Moz's point, this is what makes it so funny. They had the disallowed goal. There was no penalty before the Saka goal. They're 3-0 down at half time, and we were crap. And even then, they still could not get a draw with us shitting the bed at the end, and then had everything in their favour. And North London's red, as I put here, it was just that's where I'm getting a lot of joy from this. Is even when we were crap, they still couldn't get one over us. But it was close. it was close.
It's a shame when you go into halftime at 3-0 and then there's people still saying one goal changes it, because that's just true. It is true, but it's a real shame, because really I was thinking the opposite. I even said to one of my friends, I said, I think this could end up 7-0, just like how bad they are. They're not, we're not playing well, but they're just. I think Son had a chance right before the end of the first half where he skied the ball, and that just kind of showed you. But anyway, second half came, and as Tabs you've wrote here, this is exactly what I was thinking. Okay, don't do anything stupid, lads. Can't relax just yet. A fourth and we're laughing. And I was thinking to myself, I even looked back at last week's show notes, and I thought, what did I say as my prediction? It was 4-1. And Jamie, you'd put 3-1. So when Romero scored that goal after the Raya mistake, I was thinking, right, one of us is going to be correct here with the 3-1 or 4-1 prediction. And I was getting all my messages ready for the group. I was getting everything. I was getting all my ammo ready to go. And then suddenly it changed massively. But let's talk about the Raya mistake. So I just want to put out there that I blame him for the mistake, but I don't blame him for the manner in which he did it. And someone on TV put it perfectly. I think it was Roy Keane. Players get bored. You're 3-0 up and you just want to do something a little bit different. Because Raya could have just put his foot through that and cleared the ball and cleared his lines and got us up the pitch. But he tried to kind of dink it over, the Tottenham. There was two attackers, wasn't it? Romero. Well, I say attackers. Romero was playing as a striker.
Doing there?
I think it must.
I think that's what shocked him. He said, "What the fuck are you doing there?" Oh shit!
It must have been an instruction from Big Ange. You must have said, "Mate, go and play as a striker." For some reason, but look, at the end of the day, he's not under any pressure. He's, I think it was Thomas Partey tried to find with like a little dink, but he's using his weak foot. There's players to either side. It was just silly, and the thing I like the most about the David Raya mistake is the reaction after it from him. And Arteta referenced it in his post-match press conference as well. He said, "Look, after the mistake, he was claiming every single cross. He was doing. He was so assured at the back and did not let Tottenham have a sniff. Even at the last 10 minutes, he was still claiming everything. The very last kick, though, I thought, oh my God, Kulusevski, I think, had a shot or a cross, and it looked like it was going top bins for a second, and Raya just put his hands up to leave it for a goal kick, and I thought, oh my God, what is
that was the Son? That was Son at the very end. No, it was.
Sorry, yeah, it was
the angle of the TV. If you're there, you can judge it. Yeah, it wasn't going to be like the winner in the Johnson Page Trophy by Peterborough or wherever it was where he fell in. No, I had fears. I can't remember if I watched it or if I was in the garage at the time, but I came in very quickly after that to see the replay and said no. I mean, the thing is, I must admit, Tottenham did press well, and they pressed hard and they pressed fast. So I think they did well. It was just bad decision on the wrong foot. So if Partey had got the ball, he would have been smashed by two players. He would have been there, and there were two Tottenham players there. It was just, I think he changed his mind as he was doing, and he couldn't pull out of it, and then go in half-hearted, and then it chipped. So, but that's the way he's asked to play. So he's asked to play that. It was just poor execution. So again, I think we're all in agreement here. We're not going to kill him for that. But one bad mistake, and you're right, he made up for it. He didn't shy away. It's very easy to shrink into himself, and he is one of these players that becomes a bit smaller when he's not at his best. But no, he was claiming everything. And when you're under pressure and you have a keeper that does that, it helps so much. And actually, after that, we actually killed the game again. There was no dramas again, and Tottenham didn't actually create anything. I mean, we didn't create anything, but Tottenham didn't create anything. It was just a very back and forth without a lot happening sort of game, until Davies gets a kick in the knackers by Declan Rice, and well, again, that leads to a very nervy 10 minutes.
Declan Rice was just thinking, look, one less Spurs fan, right? Let's not have Davies having a hit.
Exactly.
That's essentially what he would have been thinking. But the one thing I would say about in fact, Jamie, I want to hear your thoughts on that Romero goal. Was there anything you seen differently from Raya? What was your thoughts? Do you think it was silly or whatever? What do you think?
To be frank, I think some of the I think they can be a little bit par for the course. You ask your keeper to play that way. There's a whole bunch of teams that do now. There are times it happens. We've seen Edison do it. We've seen Alisson do it. It's a missed kick. It's not a bad decision. That's the bit that I don't mind about it. Missed kicks occur all the time in a game of football. Game of football that includes me in it, even more so. But certainly, with Raya, and it's really hard not to always make the comparison to Ramsdale with Raya. It's probably, on its last legs now, hopefully until, next season, and we just accept Ray as our man and that's it. Well, I think we've been set to that for some time now, but at least where the shadow of Ramsdale goes. But to compare it to where I was always not fully sold on Ramsdale because of the decision-making in those circumstances. It wasn't that he miskicked in those situations. He made a ton of times bad decisions in those situations that got him into trouble. And then similarly as well, and to go back to what you highlighted earlier with Arteta's comments, Ramsdale would look nervous after that point, after that error had been made. Raya does, I think, stands up and like today, as you say, he claimed everything and he claimed it with emphasis. And you could see, the way that he clutched that ball as he hit the ground about, what felt like 5 or 6 times after that moment. It was almost, putting emphasis on, I'm here, I'm secure. But, business as usual from here on out, right? So it really didn't, in the state of the game, obviously at the time, it bothered me that we conceded that goal. But I didn't rush to being angry or annoyed with Raya at that point. You just went, oh, for God's sake. And of course, it's somebody running onto it and they don't miscontrol it. They take it in stride and, and off they go. It is what it is.
Yeah, it was. Again, I was more angry at what it meant to the game, not that Raya made a mistake. It was more, it was more, here it comes. Because if they get another goal quickly, that was more the momentum. As I said, I never thought we were going to lose, but it would to draw 3-3 would have been just as bad, and that would not be too far fetched. Yeah, we've seen it done before. We've done it. Other teams, the crowd gets up and all the rest of it. That's why we then killed the game afterwards. We did really well to just ride out the storm, took back control. Again, I can't remember any. I said, what are the key moments from the second half? There's the 2 goals, and both of them are our own fault. So other than that, did Tottenham really have a chance or anything?
Most of their XG must have come from there being, penalty with a high XG with that.
Well, yeah, that's
and then there would have been that opportunity for Ramiro. I'm very sure it would have been pretty high XG at that point where he gets the ball. And as you say, both of those we gave them. There was no carving us apart, and when they did get there, even though it was horrendously nervy after the second goal, they didn't at any point, carve us apart, put themselves in a position where they should be scoring another goal from that point onwards. So no, I mean, and
we weren't really under that much pressure. They weren't like throwing loads of balls into the box, loads of ball, and again and again, and no, it was comfortable. Again, you're right. We shot again the Declan Rice one. I don't blame him, as we said. Davies comes in blindside. Ben Rice is looking to kick the ball. It's a pen. Okay, the outcome, the fact that they get a 0.8 opportunity from that, but it is, and then it's a good penalty. Raya went the right way, but he ain't saving that. So it's a good penalty. There was never a doubt it was going in. And then we just had to again. But then we rode out the final 10 minutes. Well, there was 6 minutes of extra time. We did well. We got a couple of free kicks high up. I was a bit annoyed when we tried to go for the corner, and there was still like 6 minutes to go. 5 minutes to go. I think it's very rare. How long? I mean, if you'd won a corner from it, great. But I just find you're just giving the ball away because it's very rare that you end up with something that good. So I think with our ability to get the ball in the box, maybe not chuck everyone up there, but chuck a couple of people up there and we see what happens and so on. I think they're just too fearful to be caught in the break. So see why they did it. We didn't execute it that well, and there's loads of time to go.
It's that positioning, though, isn't it? Because even if you do run the ball down into the corner, you take one player down there, they potentially move 2 back there and then recover the ball. When they recover the ball, they've got a couple of lads deep. Nobody's pushed up because they're waiting to see what's happening, and that it just allows you to retain quite a static formation. So I can kind of understand it from that perspective that it doesn't actually matter how long you hold on to the ball in the corner. I think you can think too much that you want to see the thing that Eddie used to do at times of holding up for 30 seconds actually in the corner, But actually, I think it's just more about keeping the attacking team, their structure in one where they need to start pushing forward, and you're in a nice controlled structure waiting for them. But that's the only thing I can see is just it's more about structures than it is about trying to keep him down there for 3-4 minutes, which Kai Havertz has been all. With the best will in the world, he might seem like Dimi Berbatov at the moment, but he's not going to do that, is he?
No.
I think in terms of the okay, so it's 3-2, and I'm kind of changing the subject here a wee bit. It's 3-2. There's still about 10 minutes of time left to play. How is your nerves at that point? I just want to get an understanding of if I was just the only person that was absolutely sweating buckets. I had to pace around the living room, and I was thinking to myself, I am so sweaty. I had the living room window open, but the fields were stinking today as well. Just of like manure and just oh my god, it was awful. It was like the worst 10 minutes ever because I couldn't get rid of that smell. And then I was just watching Tottenham, the onslaught. I just wondered how you guys felt. And did any of you two genuinely think we would hold on, or did you think, oh shit, here we go again?
I didn't think in that terms. It was more, I hope they don't come back. Bloody hell, I didn't think in either terms. Was it? Oh no, we're still going to hold on. Oh, they're definitely going to score. It was just, I just don't want anything to happen. It was, and I think I did some washing. I couldn't not watch it, but I couldn't watch it either. And I was sort of listening to my son react and say, "Oh, it's a goal kick." Oh no, sorry, it's a corner. I go, what? You bastard! I think I did some washing up. I tried to carry on cleaning the garage. I couldn't because I couldn't even hold anything. I couldn't even concentrate. Where am I going to put this? Oh fuck it! And I think I just ended up pacing around the place and then sort of then threw myself on the sofa. Then got up on the sofa. So yeah, I wasn't really handling it great.
No, it doesn't sound like it. Did you say you just called Gianluca a bastard?
Yes, because he said it was a goal kick and it was a fucking corner. And then he goes, "Oh, don't worry, it's a shit corner. It's fine." And they haven't even taken it yet. Oh, stop it!
Sure. True, Gianluca. No, Jamie, did you feel any? Hopefully, you weren't calling anyone a bastard or anything like that. No.
I mean, I think maybe Richarlison several times, just every time I caught sight of him. Um, yeah, I mean, it was horrible, but I think it was margin of error. I didn't at any point feel like Tottenham were going to do it, and it didn't look like Tottenham were going to do it. And it just, especially again with Richarlison on the pitch, I did quite enjoy that he had a really Richarlison half hour or whatever that he was about for. But it just felt long. I just wanted it to be over because the margin for error was 0 at that point. And that's not nice. That's not comfortable. So getting out of it, getting to full time, I mean, that was fantastic. Time to switch off, enjoy the rest of life, and then you suddenly realise you've got City kicking off in half an hour.
Yeah. And then, well, if anyone is wondering what the City score was or is, they have won 2-0. So I know we normally do this thing on the pod where when we're watching the other games and it just seems to be that the other team seems to lose or drop points, a la Liverpool against Everton and things. But unfortunately, City it's just been full time. They've won 2-0 and it looks like they never played very well either, which is a bit gutting. And Chris Wood, there's tweets resurfacing I'm looking at now that Chris Wood was tweeting about City back in 2012. So there's a tweet now going around with a statement to the PGMOL saying, how do you let Chris Wood play against Man City, being a Man City fan? But look, at the end of the day, we've said this before and we'll say it again for the next 3 games left. We need to keep winning our games. And I'm at peace now with if we win the rest of our games this season, I'm at peace to say, look, we have done all that we can. And I seen someone on Twitter last week or midweek say something really, really clever, and you guys might not agree with this, right? But our drop points at Fulham and West Ham isn't the reason why we haven't won the league, if it comes to that. It's because Man City are so relentless and they can go on runs. Taz, before this podcast started, what did you say? They've only lost 1 game since the 6th of December, and that was against
October. They've only lost once since October.
Sorry, so they've only lost once since we beat them, and that was Villa on the 6th of December. They very rarely dropped. They've only lost 3 games all season. I mean, and it was Wolves, Arsenal, and Villa. So you never know, but City are relentless. And this tweet was just saying, look, it's not because we dropped points at Fulham and West Ham. That's going to happen over the course of the season to a team that's maybe not, well, even City dropped points to Wolves and Villa. So, would they be saying the same? It's just because of how relentless they are. But I'm so proud of the team for how far we've come this season. It'll be gutting if we don't win anything. But if we finish the league and we're only 2 points behind City at the end of it, I'm so confident the next season we can really go and challenge again. And I think if City win it this season, I can see Pep, leaving and going elsewhere. He'll have won 4 in a row. They've won the treble. What more can you achieve? So you just never know with things like that. But look, City have 4 games left. I've just seen that Guardiola says the players are run off their feet. They're tired. They're stressed because there's obviously 4 cup finals for them left. You just never know how it's going to go.
Go on, Tottenham.
Yeah, I'll be a Tottenham fan for that one day only on the second last game of the season. But it's going to be really exciting nonetheless to go. And so I'm kind of, this takes me to kind of part 2 of the pod where we kind of touch on for 10 minutes of the following game that's coming up. And we always talk about what you're looking forward to, not looking forward to. I'm just so excited to be back at the Emirates. It feels like I've not been there for a long time, and it's probably only been about 2 weeks, to be honest. But I'm just looking forward to it because we have a chance then to go 4 points clear again. We have the early kick-off against Bournemouth. City play Wolves that night, and anything could happen. But it's just going to be so good to see Arsenal play the way that they're playing live and that kind of thing. What I'm not looking forward to for the game is Bournemouth. The last time I went to Arsenal Bournemouth, you know what happened? It was the Reece Nelson 90 whatever minute winner. It was good, but it wasn't good for my heart rate. And I'm actually in similar seats to where I was for the last season, so hopefully that's not an omen. So it's just one of those things. I'm at peace. I'm okay with it if we don't win the league. I really want us to, but I'm not going to be fixated on watching City's games and looking out for the results and things. I'll look at the score and that's it. I won't sit and watch their games or anything. Tabs, what are you looking forward to, not looking forward to for the Bournemouth game? And you're looking forward to better be the fact you get to see me.
What I'm looking forward to is seeing you, Moz. There we go. No, yeah, as always, yeah. It's the fact that we won today just makes it so much nicer. Again, I think I said it a week or so ago. It's like after the Villa game, we don't want this season to fall off with a whimper and for us to just hand it to City. You know, we keep putting the pressure on. This was the Tottenham game was the toughest in our run in that I could see. Okay, we lost to Villa, but this was the one that we all that I think was the hardest one, and we've won it, and it's a relief, and it's great, and we can go into next week buoyant. It's a 12:30 kickoff, so what I'm not looking forward to is that expectant crowd. It's Bournemouth, 12:30. Everyone's just. It's always just a bit quiet, a bit it's just never the atmosphere is never as big. But yeah, looking forward to catching up with you and the Grove and everyone next week. A fun game. I don't think it's going to be easy. Bournemouth having a good decent season, but yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. And as I said, I'm sort of not looking forward to the fact that it'll be a quiet, expectant atmosphere, and if we don't get that goal early and we're not winning, then you know what it's like. It's one where the team have to lift the crowd rather than the crowd lifting the team. It should be good.
Jamie?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to what will probably be my last visit to the Emirates this season, because being an absolute numpty, I didn't enter the ballot for Everton, so I'm getting
the most important game of the season as well. It's like the one game you need to apply to and you didn't apply.
Oh, honestly, I kind of hate this only having the exchange open to ballot, but it is what it is, right? So yeah, it'll probably be my last visit there unless I go absolutely wild and go for an extravagant ticket from Vinted. I think is the place that I'm feeling right. Yeah, so I need to go to Vinted to get a ticket from.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, but yeah, so I look forward to seeing all the Grovers, obviously. But I think for me, in terms of what I want to see in the game, you really want Bournemouth to be a bit of a perfunctory win at this stage, don't you? You want to get a couple of early goals. I would love to see ESR maybe get what might well be his final game of the season, because it might be the last opportunity that he gets where Arteta trusts him. We'll see what happens. But I think coming out of that game with a good, comfortable win, nobody injured, and just everybody ready to go to Old Trafford, because that's the game that really, really matters in my mind. That's the one that I'm just kind of obsessing over.
I keep forgetting that we have to go to Old Trafford. I keep forgetting.
Have you come on.
That's why I'm barely able to articulate what I want to see football, because I'm just really thinking about Old Trafford. That's all I can think about.
Have you not seen them play lately? Have you not seen how we play? I'm sorry,
but it's Old Trafford, and you know, and
right. This season
make them look like well-beaters. Rashford has his first game ever, where in a year where he plays brilliantly, scores 4 bloody goals, and Bruno turns up. They all turn up against us, don't they? It's just one of those things, and I cannot shake the fear of Old Trafford. It's the only one in the running. I didn't fear today. I actually thought today was, I was always pretty confident about today. United away is just one of those games that I almost write off.
We'll have to tackle that one in the preview pod for Man United, but I'm looking forward to that one.
Let's come out healthy win with 3 points. I don't care. Everybody as rested as possible, ready for United. That's actually what I really want.
How do we approach this game against Bournemouth, though, to make sure we have a resounding win that you want? What do we have to do? First question is yes or no, do we play the same team as what we did today?
I think we do.
Yeah.
Guys, yeah. I mean, I think at this stage, well, actually, the fixtures are really slowing down, aren't they? And we've got a 9-day gap, or I guess an 8-day gap,
6-day gap, or 5 days. It's next Saturday, isn't it? So
no, we're on. Sorry, between that and the United game, we're not on a Monday against United. or are we doesn't
No, we play
matter.
Sunday. It's a
Either
Sunday.
way, if you turn out this team for that game, they've got nearly a full week's rest and recuperation. They're well drilled, and it's Bournemouth. We'll be fine. We've got another full week before we've got another full week after that against Everton. At this point, you don't need to make any changes if you're Arsenal right now. I don't think. You go with who's fit. You go with who's in form, and maybe you make a change because you see something tactically, and that's it. So lineup wise, I think we'll see really minimal amount of change. Maybe the one that you see is at left back. That'd be the one that I'd most likely maybe see. Maybe the whole left side, actually. Maybe you do see Gabby come back in. Maybe it's a good chance to get Gabby on a score sheet. But again, I don't even think you think about playing people into form when you've only got 2 games left afterwards either. So I'd be majorly surprised if there were more than those 2 changes, to be frank. And I don't know, in terms of approach, I mean, it's Bournemouth, isn't it? We really just need to go out and do what we do as a side. We need to be at it aggressive from minute 1. It's the 12:30 kickoff on a Saturday. It's always a little bit lively from the away team on that day as well, isn't it? They've rested in the hotel overnight. They're down in London. They're looking for a big game at the Emirates. Crowd will be in decent form normally, especially the week after Tottenham and us not having been in the stadium for almost 2 weeks, right? The crowd's going to be hopefully absolutely rolled up for it. So we need to go at it and get something early, I think, and just settle the nerves. And in all the games that we've played in this second half of the season, I think one of the big differences has been we keep scoring first half goals this second half of the season. We're not waiting until the second half to get ahead in a game. We're not going behind in games. We are scoring reasonably early, and that's all you want to see. And just literally make it a procession.
Yeah,
we shouldn't really be in a game with Bournemouth at this stage of the season when they don't have a great deal to play for. We just shouldn't be turning it into something that's an odorous task.
No, I'm pretty confident. I mean, was it they're 10th? I mean, they're on a half decent run of form. They've played okay recently. Well, they beat Wolves away. They just beat Brighton 3-0 at home. But now it turns out actually Brighton are no good at the moment. So beating them was actually fairly.
Both those teams again have nothing to play for.
Yeah, they lost to Villa, lost to Luton, drew against Man United. But yeah, so look, for Bournemouth to be in 10th and same points as Chelsea, only 1 point behind West Ham. They could get top, 9th, 8th or something like that. So I think they'll be. We should win. I think it'll be a bit tougher than we expect. I think they're not your typical 10th place, nothing to play for, because this is Bournemouth. Since when was the last time they were this high in the league? And they'll want to go as high as they can. This is an opportunity for them. So I don't think this is your atypical. They're playing with flip flops and lilos and the rest of it. So I think it'll be a bit tough. I think they will be up for it. But they'll be cautious, but they'll be there for the taking. What's their away form? Yeah, they've won 6, drawn 3, lost 8. Yeah, they score goals, but they let in was it 50% more goals than they score, sort of thing. So yeah, we should win. I just don't think it will be as straightforward as people might think it will be.
And you guys say like Wolves, Brighton, Fulham, they're all on the beach and whatnot, which is true to an extent, but surely these teams will still want to be finishing almost, in inverted commas, best of the rest. You've got Arsenal, City, Liverpool, Villa, top 4 at the moment. Then you've got Spurs, United, Chelsea, Newcastle. So out of like West Ham, Bournemouth, Wolves, Brighton maybe, and Fulham, they'll want to kind of finish in that kind of 7th, 8th, 9th position, because you do want to finish as high up, because not only you get obviously more money from the Premier League for prize money, but you also want to be classed as, there was a team that kind of finished first in the best of the rest of the league as well.
But it depends on the players. Like Wolves, if you saw O'Neill against us, they lost 2-0 and he was happy with that because they got a load of injuries. So he was impressed with the performance and he was blooding some youngsters and stuff. So he's thinking about the team and next year. For him, he's not thinking, I have to finish it. Of course, they want to finish as high as possible. He's thinking, Brighton, injury-ridden. He's not going to risk players who are sort of 50-50 for what? So it's more that. And then if a team goes down, how much are they really going to fight and play for it? So I'm not saying they're not professional. I'm saying they don't want to hit as hard. But you think even at that like 5% can make a massive difference. And the difference with Bournemouth is that this then is an exceptional season, and they want to carry that on. They're not thinking, oh well, look, we finish between 12th and 8th every year, so that's fine. Bournemouth are normally down the bottom, battling relegation. So this is like wow, if we can finish top 10, that's massive for a club like Bournemouth, absolutely massive. Whereas for those other clubs, it's less of a thing because they've been there, done that, and the players have experienced it and stuff. For the Bournemouth players, this is new for them, and I don't think they'd want to let that slip. And that's why I think this is a bit different than your usual playing against guys in flip-flops.
It's about how much you're compelled, isn't it? I think, and that's the thing. I think that playing a team on the beach is a bit of a well-worn phrase, and it's a bit of a misnomer. And it's you're absolutely right. Professionals are professionals. Nobody doesn't want to go out and win every game of football they're playing. But I think that it's the degree to which you are compelled. It's the running through walls bit, right?
Yeah.
And Arsenal at the moment, I think, absolutely will run through walls. I think City will run through walls. I don't think there's any further that you can push them just on the basis of desire or being compelled by what their immediate goal is. I think with Bournemouth, you're probably right. There's probably still a little bit there, but I don't think it's as compelling, right? That's the thing. And that's all I mean in terms of, I don't think they've got that, you could allocate a percentile to these incredibly intangible things, then maybe we've got a 10% and they've got a 5%. I don't know. It's meaningless, isn't it? But that's kind of how I'd kind of see it. That we really should be. This is a game that we know we need to win. We've shown the quality to win it throughout the season. We should be quite perfunctory in the way that we go through that game, and we shouldn't have to change things a great deal in terms of what works for us, because it's been working for us, for a long time now. So hopefully,
and then Jamie,
overthink it.
What do you think score going to be then?
I'm going to go for. I'm actually going to go for a 2-0. I think if we do get a couple of goals, then I think it could become a real foot off the gas kind of place. And Bournemouth, whilst they're quite capable of winning games against some tough opposition at times, they don't score a huge amount. They tend to win those games 1-0, sneaking goals from Dominic Solanke, stuff like that. So they're not a prolific outfit. So I think that's where I'm feeling fairly secure that we get the clean sheet and probably grab a couple.
Most?
I'm going bold. I'm going 5-2.
5-2. Jesus.
Is this just nobody's ever spot on anyway, so balls to it. Let's just go for it.
No, do you know what?
We let you in 2 goals against them at home. It's not Tottenham circa 5 years ago, this.
No, I'm doing it for a good reason. I just think that
you don't know what you're talking about?
No, well, that too. But I just want people who listen to the end to have a bit of a laugh, because
right.
If you listen to an hour and 10 minutes of your two speaking absolute drivel and nonsense, like I have I've got to every week with you, Tabs, then you might have some laugh. No, genuinely speaking, I'm going 3-0. That's my genuine prediction is 3-0.
Okay.
I think it'll be one of those games where, yes, we'll score. And if we score early, my prediction may change, and it could be another Sheffield United style game. I wouldn't change it though. I would just tell you guys.
Just text me your prediction at 90 minutes, okay? Then I'll put that in. Is that all right?
But the one thing I would say is, as soon as we go 3 goals up, Arteta, or even if we do go 3 goals up, Arteta needs to make changes and rest players for Sunday. Declan Rice looked tired. Saka looked a bit tired today, so we just need to rest and keep them fresh.
Fine. They're fine. They're playing for a championship. They're playing for the league. They're fine. They're tired because they've been running around for 96 minutes, and they're stressed because they let 2 goals in. They're fine.
For the following Sunday, though, that is
Jesus. But wait, they're going to be down the beach in their flip flops for a week.
No, but you give them as much rest as possible now, because then they'll have so much energy against United.
Oh wait, look what happened to Tottenham. To be honest, they didn't look like they had 2 weeks off. It's not like they were running around with loads of energy at the end. So, they're fine.
Okay. What's your prediction, Tab?
4-0. Not quite Crystal Palace.
Bournemouth have got loads to play for, and they're a really decent team. Goes for 4.
But I still think we're going to. I just don't think it's going to be as easy, or we'll win easy. But whatever, 4-0.
A hard-fought 4-0 victory, yeah.
A hard-fought 4-0 victory. Well, look, Palace, it was 3-0 up until Martinelli came on and scored 2 goals in injury time. So yeah, I think we'll win comfortable. Just don't take it for granted.
Thank you so much for joining us on the Grove podcast again. Hopefully the next time we speak to you guys, Man City will have dropped points to Wolves and Arsenal will have beaten Bournemouth, and we'll be heading to Old Trafford with our tails up, and our balls intact because Ben Davies won't be around. And I can finally then say to you guys that I think we're going to win the league. But until then, there's a lot more to play for. There's 3 cup finals left for Arsenal Football Club. And today was a great day. Happy St. Totteringham's Day. Jamie, Tabs, thank you for joining me. I'll see you in the next one.
Cheers, folks. Have a good one.
Thanks, you. Cheers. Bye-bye.